Item number SCP-592. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-592 should be contained in a research cell 1911-E at all times, sealed and locked in a steel box in the middle of a frosted glass containment cubicle. Also, in a cubicle are a table, 2 computers, a standard-sized computer scanner, an internal network connection output, and 2 pairs of visual distortion goggles, which must be worn upon entering the cubicle. So as to make SCP-592 eligible, the first computer serves as an analysis machine, the second as a custom firewall. All devices have been modified with specialized software and hardware. See testing protocol for details. And the network port has been secured such that no device other than the firewall may use it. It is strictly necessary that the computers and scanner are turned off and unplugged. After experimenting, and they are only powered for the duration of the experiment, the front and back covers of SCP-592 are to be covered in a black opaque tape at all times. The cell must be guarded continually to ensure that SCP-592 is not removed. Description: SCP-592 is a hardcover book that exhibits no external qualities that could be considered unusual, but which can cause delusions. I guess that, I don't know. Changes, sorry, I lost my spot. Changes in physical health and appearance, or even severe wounding when read. It is titled Chronicle of the 20th Century. It consists of 450 all-color printed pages. It is reported it has a printed cover, no dust jacket, with the title of the book, the publisher, and a selection of illustrations from within the text. The lower cover is deep blue. The spine contains the title, the publisher's name, and the left is uncovered by tape. The cover page informs the reader that it was published Press 54 blank Street, Chicago, IL in 1996. A company named Interworld Press has never been registered in the U.S., nor does the street listed exist. The text is a collection of newspaper clippings and short articles on major events from January 1900 to December 1995. Much of the first half of the text agrees with recorded events, but some point no later than 15 June 1956, a data researchers termed the point of divergence, pod. The next begins to diverge from known history. These divergences become more common and acute the further away from the pod the text is. Subjects reading from the test before the pod will report no ill effect, and generally comment that the text is well written and seems accurately researched. Subjects reading the book after the pod understand the passage read has accepted truth and vehemently deny suggestions that the text is in fact incorrect. The claims subjects are often disturbing or shocking in nature. It also appears that a subject that has read passages from a certain year can recount events that are detailed in later sections of the book. It is found that those born before the date, which is the test passage indicates, and lived in or nearby the location of the event described, may construct personal experiences built around the event and describe them as they would any other vivid memory. The subject would go to great measures to defend the reality of their story, often turning violent if under interrogation. Exposure to SCP-592 may alter physics characteristics of the subject to conform with the events of the passage being read. This can vary from small changes in appearance or clothing or infliction of severe wounds. For example, one instance, D94920 produced a scar during an interview, stating that he picked it up during the data expunged. His widow, when presented with the scar located on his blank, was surprised, stating that he had not noticed the scar before. It has been found that once subject discovers the world is inconsistent with their acquired memories, they begin to feel present that reality is an illusion, a dream, or a descent, often stating malevolent or government forces are at work maintaining the illusion. Subjects who reach this stage enter a profound and chronic psychosis. All subjects that treat this illusion have failed. The exact effects vary. Before pod, no ill, short, or long-term effects. 2 months after pod, short-term confusion, no ill long-term effects. 2 years after the pod. 2 years after the pod. Short-term confusion, long-term minor mental illness, development of tics, nightmares, minor paranoia episodes, and panic attacks. 10 years after pod. Short-term confusion, violent episodes, long-term, deeply ingrained delusion formed leading into debilitating paranoia, psychosis, and type disorders. 10 years after pod or earlier if subject forms a personal experience. Short-term confusion, violent episodes, long-term, acute psychotic delusions, crippling agnosia, becomes withdrawn, high chance of suicidal or homicidal behavior, severe risk of immediate but variable physical change in subject. SCP-592 was recovered during a narcotics raid in August 2006 on the property of Mr. Redacted, the leader of the controversial religious group, the Church of True History. Despite being in possession, the owner may only set the possession of 592, Mr. Redacted. It is believed that it is believed to have started the church a financial gain rather than a revelation. The owner must have survived exposure from 592 for almost 2 years of his rampant drug use, which included methamphetamine, cocaine, and a host of opiates. Through psychedelics, especially DMT, are known to have used and probably interacted with the effects of 592 more than others redacted. Believe that his delusions came from his drug abuse, but noted after a year after exposure to 592, he found himself turning to drugs more often than hide away from the truth. In custody, deprived of his usual chemical relief, the subject became more comatose and died a week later. The circumstances of the equation have led to proposals to test SCP-592 in combination with psychedelic drugs. See proposal blank. Addendum. Chemical properties of SCP-592 has been studied by Dr. Grayson and the chemical forensics team. Dr. Grayson reports that samples were being obtained by the means of cutting small squares of the paper book while wearing distortion goggles. These squares were small enough to contain no more than one word. Squares containing portions of illustrations were covered black opaque tape as soon extracted. Our results indicate that the chemical properties of SCP-592 differ very little from any other color publication. The paper primarily consists of cellulose from common woods, and black and yellow inks are standard. It has been found, however, that some chemicals used in cyan and magenta inks while entirely known to science, are not normally used in industry. An expert in inks and dyes has commented that the chemicals would be an inferior but acceptable substitute to those are currently if they certain metal elements that are much scarier, and therefore much more expensive than they are today. Testing protocol. SCP-592 under no circumstances can be read by a human unless the person is the subject of an authorized test. SCP-592 is only to be analyzed by a computer using the systems provided. The computer is to be scanned on per page basis using the using the scanner provided. The scanned image is then sent to the analysis machine. The scanner and other devices are modified that can not be used while wearing visual distortion goggles. Note: researchers must pass training course 305S, intermediate training course 10E of use of SCP imaging software for being approved to test SCP-592. The analysis machine is modified such that it supports no permanent writable storage devices that never stores a copy of a scanned image. It may persist beyond analysis for the image is destroyed from the system RAM as soon as possible. Where is it? Though standard secure memory flushing routines. The firewall is configured to study incoming packets for characteristics of properly processed output and destroys the packet if an insufficient amount of characteristics are discovered. This prevents transmission or text or images that have not sufficiently been obfuscated. As SCP-592 heavily illustrated, there are two analysis protocols. analysis of text. The analysis machine uses industry standard optical character recognition, or OCR. The system is to parse the text in the image, and then it destroys the image. The next file is passed through a series of custom natural language processing (NLP) routines to summarize the text. The original text file is then destroyed, and the summary is sent to secure Foundation Interactive. The NLP routines and analyze the passage using statistical methods incorporating databases in diverse English corpora. Some details of other SCPs, a correct chronology of events extracted from various texts, and limited referential network of other entries in SCP-592. Note: effects to increase the degree in which analysis references other events resulted in an incident where data expunged, resulting in 3 researchers being authorized. See document 592 blank. Summary is composed in such a way that mitigate any possibility of exposure to true material of this passage, but still provide useful antecedent ideas that the event described. An example: SCP-592 Sumo 90777-A. Note: lexical tokens from source databases are presented in all caps. Date: 7th December 1977. Location: Southern United States. 99% certainty. States: blank. 79% blank, 11% or blank. 9% certainly. Type: newspaper clipping. Summary: the passage is describing a human conflict. The human conflict is intellectual or religious nature. The passage seems 56% of limiting in tone. The passage contains numbers 2000, 1977, and 16. A relation to event Sumo, and event redacted. It is likely 78% certainty. It is certain that 98% of the passage contains a reference both SCP blank and SCP blank. Related incidents: Incident 592 blank, a loss of a limb following exposure to SCP-592 article on war. Analysis of images: SCP-592 obtains around 200 illustrations. These are cropped from scanned image as part of OCR routine. The image is then subjected to a number of Fourier transforms and to obscure a resulting output from human recognition, while simultaneously analyzing its structure and providing a summary of its contents by statistical analysis. Record the original image, then is destroyed. For example, SCP-592 image 0898. Date: 1st April 1963. Location: unknown, bedroom with Western furnishings. Type: full color photograph. Subject: the image contains 2 adult persons standing, 1 human child sitting on a chair or stool, and SCP blank with 100% certainty that the persons in the image have facial features, with 100% certainty that the persons in the image do not have facial features. So that's the end of this SCP reading. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!